Mr. Hoorn.
Hello, Muhammed.
Goed?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. We need to talk English. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
We are with two people.
yeah, right now it's just us two, but I hope others will
Yes.
come
We
because
will wait,
it'd be a waste to do it just with the two of us.
yeah. So I think if one person joins, I'm down to do it. Ideally, two people join that were interested.
Hmm.
We'll give them like 5 minutes or so. Um, yeah. So like 5 or 10 minutes, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'll deal with the recording, obviously. So,
Yeah. Did you see? Yeah, that would be great. Did you see the message I sent? The annotations that Chris made
I saw
on
the
that
message.
book
I
of
saw the message, but
how Adler.
I saw the message, but I haven't yet opened it. But I have, of course,
You
been
can look
looking
right
through
now.
the feed of Chris Aldrich in the notes of Aldrich. So I have been
Yeah,
picking up a few things.
yeah. Look at my messages because I think it's very. He's making. There's a book about of Adler's about He has this idea of the great books idea, or the concept of great books, or like an education or something.
Hmm.
I think that Adler has something like that. There's a book about that, and he's making annotations on that.
Interesting. Let me see.
Have you opened it? And
Yeah, the
it's
document.
really funny because he has done it via doctorop or like I don't know, a local copy. What we can do is we can literally maybe we can do a read through together, and then we have like one document with three annotations of Chris, of mine, and of yours. And it'd be funny to try out.
Even Dan Alosso has some annotations there.
What?
Even Dan Alosso has some annotations there. I see.
Yeah, but how do I was trying to open it. Maybe it's a book club.
Yeah, that could be possible.
Yeah, we could before.
That should be on YouTube. So I'll check it out.
I think Ben doesn't have it on YouTube. I'm gonna and hoe heet die andere? Real time.
No, I don't see a book club about it. Oh, interesting. They did have a how to read a book club. Wait, that's
That's
logical
the
because
one we joined.
I joined too, but I forgot. Yeah, but they don't have a book called a book club on the dream of a democratic culture. But maybe Chris knows it from the Lasso, or more probably vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. But mostly Chris is just highlighting. I don't see that many real useful annotations except for some questions.
Exactly. But like, there are actually a lot of annotations, but like, wait one second. The thing is, I tried to open the document, the local copy, but I cannot apply my hypothesis on it. Maybe because I'm on iPad, perhaps.
Yeah, that might be possible.
Um, so
Interesting. If I can find a physical copy, I might even buy the book. But yeah, some old books are difficult to find a physical copy, which is quite annoying.
hello, someone joined, I think. Hi. I don't know what your name is, so
Yeah, he
yeah,
has
me
his
one.
microphone muted, so
Oh, no problem. So if you don't want to talk, you don't need to talk. I think it'd be useful if you could talk. Um, but yeah, you can also just listen in. I don't mind. Be much better, of course, if you talked. Definitely, but it's up to you. Yeah, hey, hi. The other one left. He just joined. Yeah, he's back. Nice. So I
a
think we can
profile
start.
picture of Slade Wilson. It looks like.
Oh yeah, you forgot. No problem, man. You joined right now. Yeah, no problem. So real time. I don't know what your name is. So if you want to share that, or if you want to talk, that would be great. But because this is gonna be more of an active session, so I think at least if one person were to chime in, it would be great. So
I think he's testing his microphone because
I think so as
he has
well. I
himself
think
unmuted, but we don't hear anything.
So I think we don't hear you, but you're trying to talk. I think maybe share via chat, but we're not hearing anything. So I think it's not working. You're trying via phone, right?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
we can hear
Yeah,
you right now.
now
So
we can
great.
hear you real time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would say let's
Okay.
do a few introductions now that the few of us are here. I mean, we
exactly.
chat in the Discord server, but for the recording, so
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Sh-
Sounds good.
can I start? But then we can kind
yeah,
of
sure,
introductions, right? So
yeah,
um, my name is Muhammed Ali. I'm like 24 years old. I live in the Netherlands, just as Matthew lives in the Netherlands. So we don't know each other in person, but we know each other via the internet. So maybe one day we're gonna meet each other. So we have a good relationship, we could say. That's why I also joined the Discord server. Uh, and I can kind of give more context. Like I go to university and I study history. I'm in my final year, my third years of my bachelor. Um, that's kind of more of the formal introduction. But like really, what the introduction I want to share and talk about is like about reading, like how this even came to be. This session, you could say, how this and that's like I've always, I think, from an age of like 15, 16, I've always had a interest in reading. Before, I didn't have any interest. Like I didn't read at all in middle school, basic high school, and I kind of developed that. But um, over the years, I was reading, but I noticed that I didn't really, uh, nothing really stuck, or I didn't really remember things. So I over the years I tried to kind of get into reading techniques and ways to remember more when I read and reading routines and these kinds of stuff. Um, and and what I think always wanted is like having a group of people where we can talk about reading. That's really what I wanted here is like because if we have like a I think having too many people is not great. So I think 4 people, 4 or 5 people is perfect. Like just 4 people like we have here because then we can kind of really get into nitty gritty stuff. It's like having a group of people which might know some things that they want to show on how they read, and we can all share that to each other so that we can kind of progress our reading goals and things. So, I've done this reading thing on my own all these years, so it'd be fun to kind of try this with other people as well. Kind of sorry for the long introduction, by the way. Matthew.
yeah. Well, most of us or most of you already know me because I run the server. Actually, it's of course my thing. Well, my name is not Mr. Horn. I'm known as Mr. Horn online, but my real name is Matthew. And well, formerly I study programming at an MBO, Grafisch Lyceum Utrecht to be specific. I've known I wanted to be a programmer since the last class of primary school. It's in the family because my father is a programmer, his father is a programmer. The brother of my grandfather of that side is a programmer. My aunt from that side is a programmer, so it's a little bit in the family. Um, but yeah, formally I study programming. In my free time, I study cognitive science, productivity. I have over 5 years of productivity experience, both practical and theoretical. Um, and yeah, mostly my life revolves around research, science, learning, basically the intellectual life. I also read philosophy. And that is basically because my main ambition, my life's purpose is to optimize education globally, starting in the Netherlands. And the Mind Academy, which is my company, which is a bit of the on the slow burner. It's a bit of trouble setting it all up, but yeah, the server itself and the company are both milestones towards my ultimate goal of optimizing education globally. And that's in short who I am. And if there are any questions, obviously, I'd love to hear them. I think that Mr. Realtime should introduce himself next because I believe Ryu, yeah, he can introduce himself, but he is not going to speak through microphone, I think. So I have the chat opened.
Okay, okay. I hope I'm audible right now.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
so right. So I'm real time and I'm doing a bachelor's in commerce right now. And over this period, after one failure in mathematics, I decided, you know what, I had to change my learning system. And at this point, I learned about Justin Sung and everything. So I decided to join the course. After a while, like 6 months later, I decided, you know what, I should go into the nitty gritty sciences. So learning psychology, cognitive psychology, philosophy. So right now, over the past 2 to 3 months, two, yeah, it's roughly that amount, I've been going into learning psychology and philosophy in depth. That's basically what I've been doing. So of course, reading becomes a core part of that. So that's why I'm interested in this.
Yeah,
Hope
great
you
man.
understand.
Great to hear. What's your age, if you want to
Yeah,
share?
I'm 19 years old. I'm turning 20 this in
Nice.
1 month.
Yeah, great. Great. Thanks. So we have done a round of three. If yeah, do you want to talk? Yeah.
Um, yeah, I can talk for a little bit.
Yeah. Great.
I'm busy with my project right now, but maybe I can
No
do an
problem.
introduction.
Yeah. Great.
So I'm Ryu. I'm 22. Um, I'm studying commerce right now, Bachelor of Commerce. I'm not sure where I want to specialize yet, but they still give us a chance to decide that later on. So I think I might specialize in management, business management. So I'm studying of commerce, but I'm interested in psychology. I'm specifically cognitive psychology and also learning. So I think that would be more. I'm not sure if there's a science of learning, right? I think I've heard Justin mention that before. So I'm interested in the science of learning and also reading. I'm also interested in reading. Basically, I'm interested in anything that has to do with cognition and how we think, because I think if you understand how one person thinks or how one thinks, that basically carries over to how to knowing about how you learn as well. So I'm really interested in that, and yeah, I've been doing a little bit of research about that. Uh, well, research in learning as well as in AI, because I think knowing about how the AI thinks also helps to
Mm.
understand how we think a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, those are my interests, and yeah, it's nice to meet you guys, I guess.
Yeah.
Or nice
Great.
to at least speak to you as well.
Yeah. So, are you gonna, if you want, we were just gonna talk, and you can always kind of, participate as well if you
Jump
feel.
in.
You can always jump in. So, uh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, great. But I
For
think
now,
you're
I think
busy,
I'll
right?
mute, but yeah.
Yeah, you're busy, right?
Sorry,
So,
Sid?
huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Great. So we can always
yeah.
jump. Yeah. Thanks for the introduction.
Jump in. Okay, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, great. I think I can kind of because now we've introduced ourselves. I think it's good to kind of because this is kind of an unorthodox book club, you could say. This is kind of because normally with a book club you would have like a book and then we just discuss the book. But we're not gonna do that. But we're called a book club, so I don't know. That makes no sense. But yeah, I don't know what else to call it. But I'm gonna kind of call out a few things of like how this is gonna be like, what we are gonna do, so that you know what to kind of expect. Um, it's really like we're not like we're basically it's I think all about like show and tell. So I'm gonna talk about what that is. Is basically like um, uh, at, in the beginning, that's what we're going to do right now. Is we're going to share our reading goals and our systems on how we read. I think that's a really good starting point. And then you might have like because reading goal you want to have go to a certain outcome, and but the main vehicle we're going to use to maybe get to those reading goals you're going to hopefully achieve and kind of building your reading systems is by show and tell. And that is basically we're like with 4 people here. It could be that some other person might join the next week, so it might be with like 5 or 6. I think more than 5 would maybe be too much. But that show and tell, I mean, basically is that each person here is interested in reading and learning and has their own practices and their own systems and constantly gets new information about it, right? And what we're here to do with the show and tell part, I think, is to share that with each other, show that. It could be that you do a screen share of like how you make notes on your like laptop, or you might have like analog way of doing it, and you might want to do your book, for example, right?
Yeah.
So
Scott Shepard all the way.
yeah, no, I'm pro digital. I'm joking. I like both. I don't have a preference for each medium. I like both is fine. I like it's all about showing and telling. And then the thing is that why this is so powerful is because by showing and telling, you share your journey. By sharing your journey, you hopefully get closer to the reading goal. That's all what this kind of book club is about. What we might do again, we're not like entirely not a book club. We're a book club in the sense that we might like maybe in a few weeks, all collectively, it's also democratic. They might collectively decide, like, hey, let's do this book, let's read this book, but let's just read one chapter. So we might like read How to Read a Book by Mortimer J. Adler. We might decide,
Mortimer Jeremy Adler and Charles Van Doren.
yes, sorry, and we might collectively decide that. But if one person, we might like have a veto power that if one person doesn't want it, we don't do it. Like, okay, so we're very I mean, maybe that's not very democratic because the majority votes. Okay, I don't know, but you get the idea. It's about like first, I think that's what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna share our reading goals, the systems we use, and really what we want to get out of this. And if you do not know what you want to get out of it, and if you do not know your reading goals, then it's fine to say nothing, but you might be
Interested in hearing what others have to say.
what others have to say, or you might want to have the question like, okay, after this session, like, hey, what are my reading goals? What systems do I want to build? Maybe we share our systems, and you're like, oh, that's maybe a good starting point. So it's fine if you don't know what, and because and each okay, so this is the last thing before we're gonna share our reading goals and systems. Also kind of an introduction to that, like it's not really introduction, but like each person is going to share it hopefully, is that each week is not going to be the same. We might decide like on the fly, like if someone is like very enthusiastic about like I really want to show that, we can do that next week. We can go with that. So we don't really have a strict schedule, but if there is no if it's not clear, then of course I will come up with something or Matthew, so that we can kind of stay on rails. But each person can kind of contribute. That's what I'm saying. Is like at the end of each session, we can kind of say, hey, okay, based upon this, what are we gonna do next week? And if that's not clear, then I will make sure that the next week we'll have something to talk about. So there'll always be something. Great. So I will give it first to Matthew because I talk a lot right now. So. Matthew, so your reading goals, systems, and ultimately what you want to kind of just general reading goals, systems, and then what you perhaps want to kind of have as an outcome when it comes to this book club about reading.
Yeah, so, well, first of all, what I want for the book club is obviously to interact with the Mind Academy community more, and to revive the book club because I think we can learn from each other collectively. I think that's the primary goal for what I want to gain out of the book club. I want to learn from other people. I hope Muhammad and I can convince people like Chris Eldridge to join in and share their systems, and then also perhaps. But that's
I didn't share this yet, but that's what I'm gonna just say that after. Yeah.
yeah. So I hope that, of course. But other than that, I don't really have that much of a goal for the book club specifically, simply because I first need to await where the current journey of the book club takes us, and based on that, I can adjust what I think I want to get out of it. Other than that, for my own reading goals, it depends primarily on the book that I'm reading, because some books I read for entertainment, some books I read for information, and some books I read for enlightenment. And that is basically the distinction that Mortimer Jeremy Adler makes, because I know Muhammad recognizes that way of saying things, obviously. But yeah, so mostly fiction I read for entertainment, although there are some useful pieces of insight that can be gained from that as well, as Muhammad knows quite well. But mostly I read nonfiction in my spare time, and that generally depends on the book as well, because there are some books that are fun to read nonfiction wise. Like recently, I read The Learning Game by Anna Lorena Fabrega, and it's a subjectively, I found it a good book. Subjectively, I liked the book, but objectively, it wasn't that good. It didn't go in depth. It lacked proper argumentation. It didn't have many citations. So that was what I would consider a book that is not really demanding for me, because I could read through it if I spent the time in one sitting. I didn't have to really focus on it. Also because it was written for a broad audience and I am kind of familiar with the field learning. But other books that I read, such as, for example, I once read Arthur Schopenhauer, The Art of Being Right, which is about argumentation, eloquence. Well, maybe not eloquence, but persuasion in a bad way, actually. But that was one of the most difficult books I've ever read, and that is partly because of the way he writes, but also because I was not familiar with the book. So that would be a demanding book. So my reading goals are tied to the book and to the projects I'm working with. Most books I read because I want to optimize my learning experience, or add onto my learning theory for optimal learning. So then basically it is tied to that. As for my system, that's a little bit difficult to explain in a short sentence, but it's
Yeah.
primarily based of what Adler and Van Doren describe in their book How to Read a Book, and it's integrated experimentally with my knowledge of cognitive load theory and inquiry-based learning, etc. So basically, what I'm trying to do is create a system that compiles my knowledge from various different disciplines within learning and intellectualism to create an integrated system that is bigger than the sum of its parts, and will help me to read when in the best way possible, regardless of which book I am reading, regardless of which goal I have for reading.
Yeah, great. So you mentioned something about having special guests on this book club. So I'm gonna kind of explain what you kept it very short. I'm gonna kind of explain, so kind of hype it up a bit, because we're also planning on inviting guests which are like experts on reading, and this is not gonna happen often, but I think it's gonna be great. And we already have a few people in mind. The top one person we have in mind, and I'm hoping he's going to accept. We have not asked him yet, of course, because the book club has not started. It's like just in the back of our minds. Is Chris Aldrich? I really look up to him. Matthew also looks up to Chris, and it'd be great to have a person who, when it comes to reading, has is further ahead in their journey, you could say, and can really share some things. I have also other people in mind I want to invite, other than Chris. Was that what was that?
Yeah, me one or Ryu, he used a clap emoji as reaction.
Who did that?
Mr. Me one or Ryu.
Okay, great. Yeah.
You know, it was me. I just thought it would be a nice addition.
I was confused, like what's happening? But like, okay, yeah. So special guests. Yeah, that's gonna be a thing. That's also gonna be some weeks we might just have one guest, and we'll ask questions to this guest. Maybe he's gonna show some things and so on. So that's also gonna be a thing. It's what I wanted to clarify. So should I share my own, because Matthew went, so I will go right now. I'm talking already, so I think that makes sense. When it comes to did you want to?
What did you say? I was looking at the voice chat because someone asked who Chris was.
No, I was like, you're finished. I mean, I should kind of share my own reading goals and system.
Yeah, unless someone has questions for me, I'm finished with this.
Yeah. So
specific
someone has questions? I don't think so. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine here.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna share mine. For me, it's kind of funny. It's like kind of a funny story I want to share first. Maybe I don't know if it's funny, but I already had like a project in mind because I was like, I really want to. You, shut the fuck up, mate.
Yeah, it's funny.
I mean, okay, sorry, I'm gonna censor myself because I said something bad.
Sorry.
No, let's be serious. So, but like, I had like a project in mind of like, okay, I really want to improve my reading because I have a good system in place, which I'm just going to talk about in a second. It's like I have a pretty good system in place, and I'm constantly improving upon it. But what I really wanted is to kind of have a, have a comprehensive way of approaching a book. Of like, okay, Matthew, can you kind of mute yourself because there's a lot of ruis. There's a lot of
Static.
yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thanks. Just made a lot of noise. Sorry. Like I want to kind of approach a book, and then if this book is really valuable to me, I want to kind of from point A to point B and point C to point D, like really kind of flesh out this, like, what is this book about? And how I came on this idea is like I read, like, I think 1 year, 2 years ago, like How to Read a Book by, again, More Time with Jay Adler and Charles Van Doorn, like what the second name is called, I don't know. And that was like, that idea was introduced there to me. And again, I have like a very good system, but I'm noticing that if I really want to kind of really understand the book well, like I don't have a system that kind of supports that. And then funnily enough, I think I had like a talk with Matthew once, or like we talked via Discord. I don't remember. It's like this kind of we talked about that. I think we talked about like maybe doing a book club about reading or something like. And I was like, oh yeah, there's already something I want to do anyway. So it was like kind of perfect timing, you could say. Okay, so when it comes to, yeah, do you want to say something?
I think we were talking indeed about reading, and we were and stuff, and we were also talking. I think it was also the call where we had we were talking about the magician Rilke.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I think so. Maybe, I don't know. But like, okay, so that's like, I think that's primarily my outcome as well of this, is like really, yeah, again, I have a system, but like I would really want to flesh it out. And I think I can also learn a lot from Matthew, because the way it's described in How to Read a Book, I don't really have it, like I don't really quite grasp it yet, so that's maybe a thing.
Yeah, I
Maybe.
have like How to Read a Book by Mortimer Jeremy Adler and Charles Van Doorn is one of my favorite nonfiction books that I have read, and I have read it at least once very deep. Yeah, I have the same edition. And I have also been going through it for specific pieces of information every now and then over the last 2 years. And right now I am busy actually dissecting a few more chapters to recreate my Zettelkasten notes for it. And yeah, I can also help you slash others who do not understand the theory that much, because I have actually converted most of it into a practical template with some theoretical
Right.
explanation, which I will expand on as my knowledge of both the book deepens and of my other pursuits in learning areas, because of course I integrate it. So
Yeah. So yeah, I think Matthew is gonna be like, when it comes to reading, I always look up to Matthew. I think because he's really went into the weeds. When it comes to me, I mean, I to some degree as well, of course. But like, I think Matthew with How to Read a Book, like, has really like fleshed it. I think I think Adler is your idol as well. Like, he's your kind of your profile picture is Adler.
yeah,
So I think that's fair to say, right?
he's
So I
one of
think
my modern heroes, just like Niklas Luhmann.
yeah. So one of the main systems I use is actually, because I'm a person who uses the Zettel custom, just like Matthew. Matthew, can you mute yourself again? There's a lot of noise happening. I don't know if it's what it is, but like, yeah, thanks. So I use the Zettel custom method, and that's really when I think I made big steps when it came to reading. I know that not that all people like Zettelkasten in this community, but like, yeah, I do use it, and the one thing that helped with me with with the Zettelkasten method is making notes after reading. So basically, with the Zettelkasten, what you do is you create notes and you link those notes with each other. So what happens is that you read a lot of books, or like you just read books and other things, and you just have ideas and so on. And you pull these ideas out of these books and then link them with each other, with other ideas you had maybe like a few months ago from another book. So you're more engaged with reading. It's just matter of fact. It's more engaging, of course, right? It's more active. But yeah, that helped me a lot, by the way. And the other method that really helped me when it came to the Zettelkasten, like I was introduced to, is like making annotations while reading. Reading with a pen in hand, I think, is used a lot as a term, right, Matthew? So reading with a pen in hand, annotating has been the biggest game changer for me. And I have primarily learned the art of annotating. I could say, like, for me, it's really an art of annotating. Like, it's also called marginalia and other terms. Marginalia, annotating a book, or writing in a book, or whatever you want to call it. Or reading with a pen in hand is also called, has been the biggest game changer. I do that in multiple ways, and I can show you that I'm really good at doing that. I think I'm constantly trying to improve it. But the person that I learned that from the most when was looking at how he did it is Chris Aldrich. So that's why I'm also kind of really want to invite him here, because I'm his biggest fan. You could say, definitely. So that's when it comes to my systems, and I can definitely show you all that. But now I'm gonna keep it short. And then yeah, the goal already kind of shared. So I think that's all to kind of say. Yeah. Are there any questions?
Not from my side. If
Great.
you has any.
Yeah. So I think
No,
there's no.
I don't have questions for Muhammad right now. Maybe later. I do have one question for real time, actually, just out of the box because I didn't hear earlier. Is your
Mhm.
profile picture actually Slade Wilson slash Deathstroke, or is it someone else?
Huh?
Your profile picture on Discord, is it Slade Wilson slash Deathstroke or someone else?
It's Venom Snake. It's Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, I think I might have asked you it earlier, but I just forgot. Okay, never mind. Let's go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can share. I think right now would be great. Real time, right?
Yeah. So what do I have to do right now? If you could
So
just tell
just
me
what we
again.
did. Look. So basically, share your reading goal
My method. Okay. Okay. My
or
reading
systems
goal.
and or systems basically. So reading
Hmm.
goals,
Okay.
general, maybe specific to this book club, and
Okay.
or
So.
systems.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I'm pretty apprehensive about reading a book. Like, what does that mean? So if reading a book means having learning mastery over it or having retention of that book, then uh, well, that I should just. I'm pretty apprehensive about putting things in boxes. So instead of that, I just think of it as topics. So if it's a book on metacognition, then it's a giant book on a giant topic metacognition, and it's broken down. So I then go into that broken down components. So right now, I'll just tell you what I did for this Dunning Kruger effect I was doing. So I just want to see if this was true or not. So first things I did, I didn't even go to the original paper. I just looked at, okay, what is the criticisms of Dunning Kruger effect, and then I looked at if it's valid or not, and then I looked at all the articles, and I read a lot of books on the blogs on that, articles on that, opinion pieces, and what people are saying on both sides. So I'm moving from one bias to another. So on one end, I'm saying, okay, this is not real. On another end, I'm saying, okay, this is real, but I can't say it's fully real because of this thing. So and that's how I'm reasoning in my head. And that creates the big picture understanding. But my problem is that I'm not going to the details very well. So I don't know exactly what uh, all the different things that are making the Dunning-Kruger effect not a real psychological phenomenon, or um, and what things in the methodology. I don't really understand many things in that paper, so I'm not going in depth that well, but I am getting the big picture understanding of these things. So that is one thing I would like to develop. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's pretty much all I had to say. Yeah, another thing I want to do is this method is pretty different from Justin Sung. I mean, his course I can study. So this method is very different from his course. His course would have me do the BHS steps. So I haven't done that for now. For now, I'm just doing syntopical reading and criticisms, defense, and I'm just looking through the paper, order, control, whatever he says, and getting that big picture understanding before anything else. And if some things catch my eye, I'll go there. That's about, so my curiosity is basically leading me. I don't really have a system for going in depth. So I'm not really using the full VHS system. So I do want to see what the difference would be between my system and the actual AMBHS system. So I'm thinking of using learning mastery, learning retention, using Kolb's, using a video of me doing the thing, and alongside that cognitive load measurement right after every single right after I do the topic. So there's very little bias. I want to see how that works. I want to see how it would differentiate, how which method would be better. So that's basically what I'm aiming for right now. And I don't think I can do it right now. I have an exam. I have an exam on the 4th of June, and then after that, I think I have back-to-back exams on 10th and 11th, something like that. So I won't be able to do it very quickly. I won't be doing it in the near future. So, but I do want to get at this. This is something I have been this it's been something on my mind for a while now. So that's all I had to say. If Ryu wants to add in, if he wants to, then he can go ahead now.
Yeah. So, like, if I'm understanding correctly,
Oh
you
yeah,
have like, your syntopical reading is pretty good. You have like broad understanding of topics, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's
That's about, yeah,
yeah. But you want to, for example, if you have like a specific article, paper article, and it's an important one because you did the syntopical reading, and it's like an important one. Like you basically already filtered it, right? It's important, and you want to really understand it
yeah,
deep. For me, like how that would be is like now I've school, right, history. I have a course right now, and we dive deeply into poems basically, and it's like one poem is like less than one page, but we go word by word, sentence by sentence. It's insane how deep we go. It's like, it's unbelievable. So that's like the opposite side. I think syntopical reading is like having a bunch of reading done and getting a broad idea. But like, what I'm currently doing is exactly what you want to do. By the way, I don't,
Can can I jump in here, Mohammed? I think
yeah,
you are making a slight inaccuracy because uh, Adler, at least in the way that Adler defines things, the reading stages or reading levels are cumulative. So you start with elementary reading, that
yeah,
which is contained in inspectional reading, which is contained in analytical reading, which is contained in syntopical reading. So syntopical reading does not mean only having a broad understanding of a topic across a few different sources. Syntopical reading starts by developing the broad picture as real time does. It is mostly, yeah, I think that the best way to describe it in terms of Justin Sung would be layers of learning, maybe combined with order control. I mean, I'm not too familiar with the I Can Study course, by the way, because I was banned, obviously, for still unknown reasons before I even got started, actually. So that was, but that's another story. But to explain, so syntopical reading starts by the layers of learning slash order control, the broad side, developing the broad perspective, but it doesn't end there because syntopical reading is about continuing the great conversation between the authors. So you actually want to have a very deep understanding of every topic within every source. You want to know exactly what each author is saying on each topic so you can see which
yeah,
authors agree and
understand.
disagree with each
And
other and in what ways, etc.
I
So
understand what you're saying, but I don't think I made a mistake. Let me explain. Is because I said that real time has a broad understanding of the topic, and he wants to really flesh out maybe a specific paper. Um, that's what I said. I don't think I made like an error when it comes to
Yeah,
syntopical.
maybe it was a misphrasing because what I heard was that you said that syntopical reading is about having a broad understanding, and that was where I thought you went wrong.
No, I think I said like real time is doing syntopical reading, but he is a broad understanding. I'm not inferring or trying to say that syntopical reading is simply having a broad understanding and not going into the deep, like let's say, of the individual author, so that you kind of have a more robust understanding of the whole discourse surrounding the different texts.
Yeah, exactly.
I know what
I
you
mean, it
mean.
doesn't
I
matter
exactly
either
know.
way, but I just wanted to point it out.
No, I exactly know what you mean. I'll also understand where the confusion is coming from, but it's not what I believe. I believe exactly what you said. Like that's what I believe. So maybe that makes it clear. I think real time wanted to say something as well. If I maybe I think I saw it.
Oh no, no. When I said, I think I was just asking if anyone had questions, but yeah, yeah. But that's the only thing I was saying.
Did I get it right? Like that you want to so develop
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to go in depth
yeah.
into those resources because right now it's just broad understanding, which is okay for certain purposes, but it's not really okay for nuanced
Yeah.
debates or topics. Nuance, anything with nuance, you can't really do much with that. So that's where this isn't doing me any favors.
Yeah,
Um,
I have a question for you, real time, and also actually
yeah.
for Muhammad maybe because and perhaps for Ryu too if he
Mm,
is still around to talk, because it might be beneficial for us to know in which direction to take the book club over the coming weeks. Is
yes.
what are your reading goals? Not generically as we already did, but in terms of is it your goal to have actual a lot of retention of what you read, so by heart remembering what you read, or is it your goal to comprehend what you read primarily and to be able to come across the knowledge in an easy way at a later point in time? Because that differs for me. Most of the books I read, I don't care if I remember it by heart a few years later. I don't care about the retention at all. Because my note system, my Zettelkasten, allows me to use it in ways that I like at a later point in time, maybe a decade later, without the need to remember it by heart. Of course, retention is still a side effect of the process that I use. I retain
Mm,
my knowledge pretty well, but it is not the primary objective. Um,
yeah.
so that is basically a crucial distinctive factor that I think we should talk about, because if your goal is retention, there are some methods that work better for that than if your goal is pure comprehension and what I would call intellectualism.
Yeah. So real time. Your answer. Then I can go.
Yeah, I think I would say there's something in the middle here. I do want high comprehension, high learning mastery over the subjects, over the topics that I'm reading. But alongside that, there's, well, I do need some level of retention, but it's not that high. It's not going to be that high.
Yeah.
So I
Uh,
think I agree with what you said. That there might be some techniques that I know don't really need that much, and there might be other techniques which might help me more. And yeah, so is there anything else you guys want to say?
yeah. So me, my answer would be comprehension primarily, because I'm just interested. Like I want to kind of have like topical. I have like areas or places I'm interested in. I already know those, right? Like, and I want to really get a good understanding. Like you could say syntopical, basically. In your definition of like those areas. So of different texts in those areas. I think comprehension. And I'm already an avid Zettel customer, so that goes also hand in hand. I make good annotations. That also helps a lot, I think, with that, of course. And yes, I would definitely say comprehension, but specifically, I'm gonna refer back to the how to read a book. Yeah. So I think the different stages that Adler lines out, I'm not doing that well, is inspectional reading. You could say I'm not doing it in any specific order. By the way, you can kind of correct me, Matthew. Not correct me, just kind of um, help me here. It's like inspectional reading, analytical reading, syntopical reading. I think those three. Am I missing something?
No, because I am fairly certain that you can read elementary very well.
Yeah. Sometimes I swear to God, because I'm reading poems right now that are really hard, is you sometimes go back to elementary because you sometimes don't even know what the words are.
Yeah,
So
true.
also you have to sometimes be humble. That's not like, so you have to kind of really like kind of don't interpret immediately. Just really just what the fuck is even there. So but just generally speaking, inspectional, analytical, syntopical, basically. And I think I'm gonna propose this right now. So this is how it works.
Before
Sometimes,
we go into that, by the way, I want to, unless it adds onto the topic we were already talking about, I wanted to know what, if Ryu is still around, what his goals for reading are in
yeah,
terms of
sorry,
repetition versus
yeah, sorry,
comprehension.
yeah, sorry. If he wants to share, maybe he's just listening in. So you can, if you don't say anything, we know that you're just listening in. Or yeah,
I mean, he can always let it know later, obviously.
yeah. So you can always jump in if he wants that. So there's no problem. Um, what did I want to say? Okay, I think I have an idea for a future. So I'm just gonna, it's always good to kind of, if anyone has a good idea, just share it with us. I have a good idea right now. Is maybe it's fun to, and I'm gonna propose Matthew to do this. Is that Matthew guides us through the inspectional and analytical synoptical reading, gives us a great understanding of it, an overview of it. So it's going to be, we can do that like for a future. We don't have it in plan right now, but I think we should kind of throw it up in the air.
If people are interested in this, I'd be willing to try it. It would not be like a real teaching session in the sense that, I mean, I
Yes,
can try to teach, but I'm not an expert at teaching or
show your
coaching. So, but
show
I can
yourself.
try and
Yeah, this show and tell is basically not teaching. Show and tell is what are you doing? Just give us the nitty gritty. It's don't prepare a presentation. Just show us your system screen share. You don't need to. Yeah, everyone. By the way, it's not about like. It's not performative in the sense that, oh yeah, I need to present. I need to. No. It's like all about
unless you
just
like it, of
show and
course.
tell. What did you say?
I said unless you like presenting. I mean, you are allowed to present if you want.
Yeah, but okay, it's always presenting, but like it needs to be. You need to kind of, if it's not done yet, if it's not perfect, or like you just need to get over that and just show it, right? You need to not like. So I would propose
There's no
Matthew to.
friction. Yeah,
Yeah, no friction.
I can
Yeah,
definitely do that. I will probably prepare something also because syntopical reading is quite hard to guide through without preparation. I mean, inspectional reading is relatively easy to do even without preparation to actually show what it is like. Analytical reading is obviously a bit in the middle, but yeah, I will try that. We can
yeah.
plan that between the two of us, like a date set for when we do that.
Yeah.
That's
So
no
that
problem.
might be a possible future session. I'm interested in, I think, first real time. Would you be down with that? Would that be interesting or not?
The prospect of doing it like showing
Yeah,
and telling.
yeah, no. Just yeah, the show and tell is a general concept of like if you have something to show and to tell, just go ahead and do that, right? So if you have a system you want to show you, I think you talked about the method that you want to develop, but you have exams. But let's say you already finished with the method and you have already kind of discerned with which method is better. Then you can show and tell that, right? That's what show and tell is. But I'm talking here
Yeah,
about like,
yes, I am.
yeah, exactly. So I'm here talking about Matthew, him showing and telling something about inspectional reading, analytical reading, and syntopical reading. Basically, that's outlined in this book. It's going to be a future session, perhaps, that Matthew is going to do, a future book club edition, basically. Are you interested in that?
Yeah. I'm interested. I
Yeah.
think sometimes my exams will clash, so I will. if it's on my exam days, I won't be able to
Yeah,
attend
no
these
problem.
meetings.
Yeah, I
there are
can
no
have.
obligations either way, and it will be recorded and put on the Mind Academy YouTube
Yeah,
channel. So if you
exactly.
miss anything, you can watch it, rewatch it
Yeah,
anyway. So
yeah, exactly. So I
Okay.
think that's good. I think Ryan also, I don't know. So if Ryan wants to jump in as well, you can always share that. So, so I think that's good. I don't know where we were before I said this.
yeah, we were
Before I,
talking about Ryu's system, and I was explaining what syntopical reading was.
yeah. So we were talking about real time, right?
Yeah.
And you were explaining what syntopical reading was.
Yes.
Okay. I kind of lost my train of thought, like exactly where we were left off. I'm noticing.
Yeah, me too. Because that's logical. If you go talk in the meantime for a few minutes, it's hard to pick up back where you were left. But yeah, I mean, afterwards we can rewatch it once it is uploaded to YouTube, and then we know.
Then
But
we know. Then we know, man.
yeah,
So yeah, then we'll know. So I will just go on the. I will just randomly talk right now, and hopefully something useful comes up.
that is what Chris Aldrich might have called serendipitous creativity.
Exactly. I think he has a tag on it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so I think everyone shared their. I think we already did the round of like sharing goals and systems, right?
Yeah.
As well. So I think we're done there. So I'm gonna throw another question. I think that's useful to address is, do we want to do, for example, we're a book club, right? Do we want to read this book, or again we have like more of an open form, so we're not necessarily a strict book club, but like we could do like not maybe right now, but like maybe later on, like how to read a book as well.
I mean, I'm always up for it, and I will, for whichever book we will be reading for the book club, I will make sure to provide everyone with a digital copy of it for free. So that's one thing for
I
sure.
mean, everyone can just go to Library Genesis and
Yeah, but not everyone knows how to use it. So
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so like we can do this as well, like not right now maybe, but like maybe later down the line. I think it's a good book to kind of discuss. How to Read a Book is like I think the best book on the topic on reading. Like there's no other book like it. I think, right? Matthew would agree.
yeah, I don't know any other book that specifically goes into reading. I am quite sure that one or two exist, but I haven't yet heard the names of it. I know Luhmann wrote a piece on reading, but it's like really short, and it does have some useful insight, but it's not really that in depth.
Yeah, there are other books on reading, by the way. I think that must be, but like this is the best book for what I've encountered. Right.
Mhm.
So we should be down real time as well for that. Like,
Yeah, it sounds good.
yeah, great. I honestly, I think, I don't know. I think I did prepare some things. I think we kind of discussed everything, mainly, like the most points. We're almost also, there's almost an hour has passed, almost. So I think we should wrap it up. I don't think we should kind of extend it too long. I think we kind of want to, like, discuss most points. Does anyone still want to bring up something?
I'm fine here. Ryu, if he has anything.
Yeah, I think he's just listening in, and
Yeah.
I think he will let his thoughts know when he's done with the project, or maybe after he has watched the video. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but we will see.
Yeah. So we're gonna do like before we're gonna check off. I think it's useful to we kind of talked about a few things, is to kind of reflect upon, okay, what can we do next, maybe next week already, and the coming weeks. Do we have like a maybe an interesting topic to talk about, like something specific? So we already kind of threw it up in the air of like Matthew, him do the showcase, but like
I don't think it's the best for the second session
not next
already.
not next week, I think. So is there something specific? I have an idea, maybe
I
maybe other
I
also.
suspect also that a session with me sharing those 3 stages of reading could
Yes,
potentially be
so,
done after we read those specific sections within the book itself, because then you
yeah, I
also
think
already have a theoretical
I
background.
think yes, I agree. So I think that is yeah. So I think one good thing is to indeed read the book and then have like the expert that he is, the master, the
Chris
I don't know,
Aldrich.
the king.
Sorry.
Now you, I'm talking about you. You're
Sorry.
gonna you're gonna do the showcase. So I think that's a good one. So read the book, and then Matthew is gonna kind of go in depth into each stage, and later down the line we might. I think Chris Aldrich. I think it's better to do the book and then do Matthew kind of kind of giving in depth as well. I think discussing the book, but also Matthew going more in depth. I know that he has read the book a lot of times and has good knowledge on it. So I think that's a good one.
How
Then
much?
maybe Chris as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know from the both of you in that sense, how much time do each of you have this week to read? Do you think? Because that might
The
allow me
question is,
might allow me to discern
then
which part we should discuss the next week in that sense.
I think I'm not saying that we should do this immediately next week. Um, Maybe we can keep next week a bit more low key as well. It really depends. I think what we can do, or unless we want to immediately start with the book as well next week. That
Yeah,
so it's up to you.
that's what I think. But what do you think, real time?
I have yeah.
You have your
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
yeah. So I think I don't really have much
Dark time.
time this week.
Yeah.
I yeah, I don't have much time this week. I have an exam, and so I'll be preparing for that mostly. So
Yeah.
this is my finals week. So yeah, I can't really do
I
much about that.
I'm gonna say so. I was not either. I wasn't planning on doing the book anyways. So I'm gonna say next week. Um, I think can everyone for next week just as a topic. So this is the other option, right? We have like option A is start with the book. Option B is what I'm gonna present right now. Is everyone is gonna do a screen share on their reading systems, like or like just show like put the cam on and then show like your physical books. That's also possible. Like how you kind of let's say highlight and annotate books digitally or like physically can show that as well, and then how you kind of maybe make notes on books, like, and that can also be like adjusting sound system like mind maps. Maybe you throw the mind maps and do like all that shebang. I don't know what's called because I
Well,
don't know.
yeah, I am limited by intellectual property, so I don't think I can tell you everything. But based on the research, I can just say, okay, this research seems good. Uh, I think that's the most I can do right now.
what, what,
So,
what do you
um,
mean? I didn't quite understand. Are you limited by intellectual property?
yeah,
uh
yeah, yeah, intellectual property, yeah. So, yeah,
what does that
I'm
mean?
in. So I can't really tell you guys how to do mind map because
No,
that's intellectual.
I'm not asking you how to do mind map. I'm just asking
Mm.
you like maybe like for every people that don't
Oh,
read
okay. So like you study with me. Okay, yeah. Okay, a demonstration basically. Yeah,
demonstration.
yeah, I think I can do that. Yeah.
Great. So
Yeah, so I
I'm
think we should do that and next week, and then
yes.
maybe the
The,
session after that we can discuss a part of the book. I think that would be a better
okay.
Mm.
strategy.
Yeah, yeah,
Stage
yeah. Sounds
to
good.
I want to give the stage to thanks. I want to give the stage Dark Eliminator. You don't late, no problem. You can if you want to talk, you can kind of
Introduce yourself. We already did introductions, but if you want, you can rewatch it on YouTube once that is uploaded later.
Uh, yeah, so I don't really know what to say in the introduction, but
just
I
who you are,
probably,
like why you are here right now. So what your interest in reading is, what your reading goals are. Maybe share what your reading systems are. Just keep it, like something like that.
so currently I'm trying to read a couple of nonfiction books that focus on productivity and time management. For example, um, I just started reading Deep Work.
Mm.
Mhm.
and ultra learning,
Mm.
and it's just similar books like that, mindset,
Mm.
all these. Just the
Yeah.
basics of productivity, just starting to get into.
Mm. Interesting.
And Mr. Hoon, you
Yeah.
probably know me already as nobody.
Matthew knows you, or
I think he said Mr.
Yeah,
Horn.
he knows me.
Yeah, not in real life, but we talked already for a bit.
yeah. Um, so, if I'm understanding you correctly, are you more interested in learning about time management and productivity, or just about how to read better so you understand these topics better? So, just the act of reading itself, like so, because if you improve your reading and your reading systems, you can maybe more grasp more what it is about time and productivity, time management and productivity.
Yeah. I am focused more on productivity and time management, but I'm also focused on efficiency. So I'm doing the ICS course, but I may be rushing a bit, so I
Mm.
should talk
Yeah.
and catch up.
Mm.
Do you know that course?
I can study course, yeah. Muhammad has heard of it, and I think most of the community in my server are contacts left over from the I can study community
I don't know.
server.
I know it. Yeah, so I know of it. I can study. I'm planning on joining it in I think from July on forward. So I don't have school. I'm gonna focus on that. So I'm gonna do it. I hope because I think what Justin Sung doing is really great. So I'm planning on joining that. So definitely a thing I will do. Um, and again, we're this book club and this kind of. I'm gonna quickly give a recap. What we're all about. We're all about. I think Real Time wanted to say something. I will quickly get to you as well. I will kind of finish it up very quickly, and then I'll give it to you. Is like a quick recap. Is like this is an unorthodox book club. Is that we don't really discuss only books. We do a bunch of things. We will probably invite a guest over that's like an expert at reading. That's most likely gonna happen. So hype. Um, we will we will kind of do show and tell. That's a big concept. Is each person here probably has a goal in mind when it comes to reading, and show and tell basically is like if you have something you know about reading that is useful to you, show that. Like if you have a good tip, if you have a good technique, you can show and tell that. Maybe put on your screen recording and then show your, do a demonstration. That's what we're gonna do next week. So showcase basically. That's basically show and tell. Each person can show something. I have something in store. I think Matthew can show a lot. Real time is gonna show something. So there's gonna be a lot of interesting stuff there. So show and tell basically shows something, and so it's about reading. But you said that you are interested in time and productivity, time management and productivity.
Yes.
I don't mind if we talk like I'm pretty good at those topics. I believe I am. So I'm like a person who is very into GTD. For the people that don't know the book, getting
Digitale
things,
fitheid.
huh?
Digitale fitheid.
And that as well. So digital fitness. The other thing is I work at Digital Fitness. That's a company in the Netherlands that's just going international. So it's getting more known. So I'm very good at technology. How the concept of information, how to capture information, how to process information, how to organize information. Like that's kind of one of my passions as well. So we can talk about other topics, but I will propose is that if we talk about those other topics, let's discuss how we can kind of
Related to the topic at hand, to reading in this sense.
exactly.
And then
Because
maybe in future book club topics, we can
yeah,
go into more depth about specific other things.
yeah. So the thing is like that's why I asked you is like, are you simply interested in time management and productivity, or what you can do? I think this is a better approach for this book club because we will learn more about that. Is like how can you read better, have by having better reading systems, for example, just literally having better systems, and maybe
Do you
discipline as well.
mean like
And
speed
the other,
reading or
yeah,
just organization of topics?
It is both included in what we can talk about.
everything, everything about reading.
Okay.
And the thing is that if you are better at reading and your systems are better, you're again, maybe have more retention and comprehension, but we are putting emphasis on comprehension here, I think. More comprehension, then you will understand the topics of time management better and productivity better, and any other topic you want to learn. I think reading is, again, it's not necessarily the truth, because productivity is also about experience and actually putting in the reps. But reading can give you just reading about, just reading a book, getting things done, and really, I've read that book like 4 or 5 times. I think the way I read pretty well, I believe. Like, again, I want to learn as well. I also share my reading goals, but the reading itself helped me also be better productive. So I think definitely what Matthew said is like, we'll put the focus on reading, but if you want to also talk about those topics in relation to reading, that's perfect. So maybe you have a book that's about productivity, but then how can you read that better? Let's say, which systems can you use to kind of improve that? Do you get that? Like,
So, yeah, it sounds good, but are we more focused on non-fiction books, or can
so,
this technique be applied at any educational books?
I mean, like the at least in the way that Adler and Van Doren describe it in How to Read a Book, which is like the classic book on reading, which most of my work is founded upon in that sense. It can, it is mostly meant for non-fiction books you read for understanding, enlightenment, information, but they have a section on reading fiction better as well, like understanding the plot, what is happening, how the characters behave,
yeah,
etc. But that's not my focus. I don't know too much about that.
yeah. I think it's all reading, but I think most people that are here are primarily focused on nonfiction,
hmm
um, textbooks, educational kind of reading. So,
Yeah, so it can
uh,
be applied in, like, suppose physics or
hmm?
something.
What did you
It
say?
can be applied in physics
Yeah, yeah.
or any subject books.
The thing is, subjects differ. Yeah, so that's kind of a hard thing. So the thing is, I'm not like on like when it comes to this book club, like me and Matthew are not like we're not like here and you are here. We're like equal among equals, basically. We're like okay, we're like first among equals because we have to manage the I have to like organize this. That's the only thing I do. But when we talk, and then of course I have to kind of guide the session so that we don't like talk too randomly. That's the only thing I do. Because you have maybe a background in physics, I'm assuming you're much more knowledgeable on that. I have no clue how to
Oh,
read physics books. Or like what's the
no,
example?
actually, I'm not only physics. Like, I'm in school right now, so
Yeah, he. I think
I
what
study
what
I study every
I
subject.
yeah, I think what he was asking was if the reading techniques that we discuss or the reading principles can also be applied to reading physics books. And I say,
I don't know. The thing is, I don't know because my system might be limited for someone who is doing physics. Like I don't know, right? Like
yeah, but
isn't that
I mean, obviously, I think it can be done, and I think if you really want specific advice on that, uh, you can just pop the
yeah,
question, not in this session because we're
definitely.
wrapping up, but in a future session, and then I think I'll see if I can answer it immediately, and otherwise I need to think
Of
about it,
course.
maybe read up some more, and then I will try to give advice. Obviously, I know that from the top of my heart, I know that, or from the top of my head, sorry. I know that Adler also has a few different sections in How to Read a Book on reading specific types of books, like history, math, maybe physics even too, as a specific thing. So if you ask about physics, that's definitely a chapter I will read up on to actually try to tailor my
Yeah.
advice.
So I think everyone I think yes. I think other people can help you with if physics is your interest. I think what Matthew said, basically, I don't have anything else to add. Um, but I think when it comes to reading, because it's so diverse, I think some people are better specialized at reading history, philosophy, poetry,
Definitely.
those kinds of things. Like me, for example, fiction as well a bit. And some people might be better at like the sciences, the more like the technical stuff. So it will differ from person to person, I think, right? Like, I think that's the right answer. And so,
Does that satisfy your question, by the way, Dark
yeah,
Illuminator, before we
that's,
move on?
That does satisfy my question because I'm not actually focused on nonfiction books. I'm not actually trying to be more efficient in reading nonfiction books specifically, like ultra learning or all these books, because I just spend a couple 1 hour to a couple of minutes per day reading.
great.
So like if you give too much advanced techniques, I may not be able to apply.
Yeah, okay, I understand that. You need to build that up. Okay, yeah.
So
Yeah.
what I'm understanding, what you're saying is like you don't necessarily want to kind of because you're just starting out with read is
No,
you
it's not in my immediate goals because reading, as you said, is very diverse, and I don't have much time allocated for it. I don't have much time I can spend on it alone as a hobby.
it's not a, for me reading is like again we're doing mostly nonfiction and educational material, so it can also be scientific papers, no problem. I think reading is not like just a hobby. I think reading is an integral part of learning. So I would kind of oppose what you're saying here, in the sense that I think you're portraying reading a bit like you're like maybe saying like, oh, reading, I don't really maybe have time for it, or like it's okay, it's not a priority. I know what you said there. Um, as a hobby, you said as well. I think that once upon a time, there was a time where reading was so integral to each person's their education. Like it was so important, and I think we have lost it in this day and age a bit. So I would kind of oppose that a bit and say I think for every person, reading is so like important, and it's not just a thing. I think it can definitely help you. Maybe you disagree, of course, but yeah, I don't know.
I,
You
it
know.
is helpful. It is required, but for me, in my current situation, it's not one of my top priorities
Okay,
because
so
I'm going to have to
then
study subjects, and
yeah, yeah.
I have many other priorities.
Then I would say maybe this is not for you. I'm just going to be harsh here. I mean, Matthew, I don't know. Maybe you can say something else. Maybe
I mean,
you
I
can
think
still join. I'll
yeah,
definitely say
I
join.
mean, like, I think he is welcome to join, obviously, and I think he needs to determine for himself if he finds use in the current book club topic. But I think that the person who knows that best is himself.
Yeah. So I would say basically very harsh. Like maybe this is not for you this time around. But you decide for
Okay.
yourself. I don't know. You can decide like not right now, but like maybe you're like after this probably not for me. That's totally fine. No hard feelings.
Yeah, I might join a few more book clubs. I decide later.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, so great. I think you might still learn something about it, and I think you said something that you were interested in time management and productivity. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, so I'm up to kind of do one-on-one like talks on that if you're interested.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we can do that. I
But
think we can
just
schedule.
maybe not this time because it's quite late for me.
No, no, definitely not right. I just not later, right? So we can because I'm very interested in time management and productivity. I have my own systems, so I'm down to kind of just do like a one-on-one. Maybe Matthew can join as well, but like we just like this is kind of more informal. Basically, it's
Yeah,
not
don't
really
try
part of.
to plan me in because I'm not always available. But if I
Okay,
can,
I will just
I'll
okay,
gladly be
just let
there.
me know
But if I
then.
can't, then
Or
Yeah,
we can,
I'd also like to be part of that.
yeah,
Um, the time management thing. Yeah.
yeah. So I've added
Yeah,
you.
sure.
So I'm being called. I'm just going to decline that. Sorry, um, if that was noise there. So we'll have an informal. Currently have like three people, me, real time, and maybe Matthew is going to join. So this like it's like almost like a parallel book club, but it's actually
it's
it's gonna be informal and it's more gonna be accountability. So
yeah, it's maybe a
um,
single session or something. Yeah.
we're gonna see, but the reading is like the emphasis. But I will definitely do that specifically just for Dark Eliminator. I will do that for you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, great. So I think real time wanted to maybe say something. I don't know if I
Yeah,
maybe
he unmuted a couple of times.
No, no. I just wanted to check my mic at the time,
okay.
but it's fine. Yeah. I didn't have anything to say.
Great. So, Matthew, do you want to say something?
Well,
Oh, maybe, sorry. One thing, Matthew already mentioned it. Sorry. Um, technical information when it comes to the book club channels. You
Sorry?
understand my question, Matthew?
uh, oh, yeah,
The channels, the
I
book
think
club, the
I think
channels.
I need to clean up the text channels a bit because they're reminiscent of the old book club, which we're basically now sort of reinventing. But yeah, we might start a new Obsidian shared vault, but we will see how things go. It's not a must.
Let's
Right
not
now,
do
it's a
that.
bit too
Let's
much.
just have like a. Okay, so I think what I want to ask you here specifically is just make it clear the Obsidian book, the Obsidian Vault. Let's just put that to the side because I think
Yeah.
that will be confusing for now. But like, I think there is a book club channel, right, where we can talk with each other. Is
Yeah.
that true? Yes or no?
Yes, if you have the book club role, you can talk there. But I don't. I think a lot of people have the book club role now that aren't actually interested in the current book club. So we need to do a bit of cleanup later. But
No problem. So, for all that are here, it's useful that you assign yourself the book club role. So that's important. And then we can talk about the topic of reading in the book club channel. I think, right? There's a book club channel where we can text
yeah,
with each other.
yeah,
So that's kind of an important one. So we can kind of talk about maybe just general shit about reading, basically. Reading, and we can kind of talk about that, basically.
yeah. And
Yeah.
my question, basically, what I wanted to say was not specifically related to reading or anything. I'm just curious if if you all found this current session, if you enjoyed it and if you found it valuable already. Just to hear your thoughts on that, because that's always useful to know. You know, every system
Yeah.
needs to have a component of feedback and reflection into it in order to improve.
Yeah, I think it went okay. I don't like the timing. It's like 1 a.m. right now, so
Yeah.
yeah, the timing is pretty bad.
Like,
But otherwise, it's like okay. It's really it's decent, I'd say. Yeah. I think we can cut out some fluffs. So there's a lot of fluff going around. We can cut out the fluff and talk more on point. I think having some sort of agenda or something like that and timer um, with every person getting some amount of time, that would be more helpful. That's all I have to say right now. But yeah, I'm really tired right now. It's like 1
Yeah, I
a.m.
think we might need
Yeah.
to edit the timing a bit, but that's always an issue with multiple time zones. So Mohammed and I will talk about that, and we'll come up with a solution.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll try to. Fortunate that the timing is not good, so we'll try to fix the kind of time zone. I think Dark Eliminator wanted to say something as well, maybe, or did I? Did you want to say something?
was that question directed at me?
Yeah,
Yeah. So, yeah. So like
Oh, okay.
feedback, basically. I think
Right.
you. Yeah.
I did have a question, but I forgot. Just one second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hold on. I just lost my question.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
But apart from that, Matthew,
Yeah,
you made reflective the, the reflective study thinking and Notion, right?
yeah. The reflective template of Kolb's based on the I Can Study course. You mean that one?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Hold on. I had a couple of questions on that particular.
Uh, yeah. I don't think it's. I mean, you can surely ask the questions, but I don't think the moment for that is right now because that's not related to the reading at all.
Uh, okay.
But
Yeah. Do you have any?
sure, you can DM me the questions, or
Yeah.
you can ask them in the Discord chat itself. Maybe other people have some thoughts too, but
Yeah.
we'll get to that.
Yeah. So, do you have any feedback, or was that just what you wanted to?
I've just joined for like a couple of minutes, so I don't have any major feedback. It
Yeah,
was
makes
pretty
sense.
interactive.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So,
liked it.
what is your time right now? How is the time zone for you?
Yeah, same as real time.
Okay, so I think we have to kind of shift the time because the time zone is really bad for you guys. So I think that's something we have to kind of discuss with Matthew.
Yeah.
So we'll try to fix that for sure. Time zone definitely has to change. For us, it's
Yeah,
not a
when's the
problem.
next meeting? The next meeting, when is it?
In a week, but we'll try to see if we can
Okay,
make the time a
okay.
little bit better.
So we'll definitely notify you about that, so you will know before the meeting how late it will be, and then if it will be suitable for you. And you can always say like, "Hey, it's not suitable," so that's fine. Um, Great. There was one point you made about the fluff and being on point, like we're like kind of. I think again because one aspect about this will definitely have agenda, by the way. But agenda will be made by us. If you are
Yeah,
too strict, my opinion is if you are too strict, you will kill flexibility and dynamicness and just humanness basically. I mean, we need to. Okay, of course, we'll do agenda. That's great, and we'll definitely have. We
Some
definitely
guidelines, but if you are too strict on it, what Mohammed is saying, you will probably kill the chance for serendipitous creativity, where
yeah.
you
yeah,
would
yeah.
like
Okay.
to come up with insight by chance. I think that's his primary
And
point.
yeah, exactly. And another thing I wanted to add is that because it's like the first session, we just talk about like introductions, just knowing each other. So we won't necessarily talk about like content, like just reading on point, basically what you said. The other aspect is that because it's show and tell, it's going to be much more loose, and that means that sometimes it won't necessarily be obvious what we're talking. I mean, generally the goal is, of course, to kind of have to not talk about fluff or not, have good shit, But unfortunately, I'm just a human. I cannot always drop value bombs. So, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's understandable. Yeah, of course.
yeah. Is that
But
kind of yeah?
yeah.
Do you want to add something?
No, no, that's I'm really tired right now, so I can't really give that good of feedback.
Yeah,
Um, and I don't really know what why this is going to be. I didn't know that, but I think I'm getting the understanding now.
yeah.
So yeah, that's nice.
Okay, so
Um,
I just want to ask you specifically. So you didn't have like a picture in mind of what this was gonna be, or at first, and then you were like surprised at what it was, and now you understand. Do you want to kind of unpack that a bit so I kind of get a better picture?
oh yeah, the agenda bit. I thought that sometimes we were speaking for too long, or it got really tiring at some point. So uh, I thought that maybe we could just have like like a set time amount, and before after that just wrap it up, or
Yeah,
and I thought that in general I think the the goal was pretty clear. The goal was pretty clear, but I just say I think the fluff, yeah, fluff or talking too much, or that's basically all I want to say. Of course, I don't mean any offense here,
no, no,
or
definitely.
anything
I
like.
was just trying to understand. So I think it's inevitable that we're great. Thanks for the feedback, of course. It's like I think just generally the form what we have, there is inevitably gonna be some kind of
Mhm.
maybe not necessarily fluff, but like it's gonna be not always clear, not too strict, is what I want to say. If that makes sense, because it's the first session, it's gonna be a bit of fluff. People, are, just introduction, small talk a bit, but unfortunately, maybe I
Yeah,
think next
yeah.
week we'll, yeah, I think hopefully that's clear. So next week we'll do demonstrations. I can show you a shit ton of things. I think Matthew can show
Hold
a
on,
lot.
hold on.
Yeah,
Mohammed,
yeah.
what are we going to do in these demonstrations? I didn't get to that part.
Yeah, you missed that. What we will do basically is because I think I'm a little bit better at keeping things concise than Mohammed. is
Oh really? No, I don't know, man.
yeah, no, but what I think will what so sorry. What Mohammed meant was that we will demonstrate our current reading systems, like the way we make notes, how we read, etc. Maybe share a screen. It's not obligated to do, but that was what we were planning to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll do like a walkthrough through what you did the previous week, like throughout the whole week, what techniques you used and what you want to improve early.
For
No,
Is it a
in
example,
feedback?
general.
And I think in general, but like if you did something in if you read like a book, like and you want to show how you read that book and systems and techniques to use, that's totally fine. Yeah.
Okay. It's more focused on systems and techniques, not specifically the books itself.
So not Matthew, did you want to go ahead and say something?
Yeah,
Or
I mean, I think we are currently like the topic for the coming few book club sessions is reading. So we talk about reading, how we approach reading, what our goals are with reading, etc. But uh, later on, when we move on to a new topic, or also maybe even with this topic, we might read books around this certain topic. So for reading, we might
yeah,
dive into How to Read a Book by Mortimer Jeremy Adler and Charles van Doren and discuss the book. If we are done, or when we are done with the topic of reading, we might move into a book club topic session or a book club topic of, for example, productivity for a few weeks,
yeah.
and then we discuss the topic of productivity and we read books around productivity, for example. Does that satisfy your question? Do you get my answer?
Yeah, I do get your answer. Um,
Okay. Yeah, was that good? I think it was good. Then
No.
so
Yeah.
hmm?
Yeah, I was just saying
yeah,
I can't hear
I
him.
answer to my question,
Yes,
but
sure. Ask around.
yeah, I don't know. I keep forgetting my questions. Maybe
No,
it's
no
Maybe
late.
next time
problem.
write that down.
Yeah, maybe next time we can keep it a little earlier, so
Yeah,
I don't stop in mid sentence.
yeah, no problem. I think the time zone is just big. I mean, it's already like kind of special that you are here at this time. Like that's fucking late. So um,
It really is.
mm,
So
mm.
let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up right now. So I think it's clear. Next week we're gonna do more practical demonstrations, and perhaps the next week after we'll probably start with this book, How to Read a Book, and then Matthew, our expert, will give demonstration. I think he's here when it comes. If you did the Discord screens, I think Matthew is here. He will give that. So I think that's kind of a clear agenda. We'll also put that agenda somewhere in the Discord server so you can exactly see what will happen. So if Matthew, do you want to add something and
No,
conclude?
no, I think for now it's fine. I think we will indeed wrap this up, and I'll upload the video to the Mind Academy YouTube channel and notify you all when it's
Yeah.
done.
Okay, can I ask a question quickly before we go?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Are we supposed to read that book? How to read a book for
In
next
2
week,
weeks.
or are we?
It's
What's the plan?
it's not necessary to read the book right now because we are not going
No,
into
not right now.
the part yet. We will probably say which chapters we'll read coming week. So coming week might be the start that we make into the book, but it's not certain
Maybe
yet.
in 2 weeks we won't start the book right now. So maybe in 2 weeks or so.
Okay, okay, no
Okay,
problem.
so will there be assignments? So we're
At the
supposed to,
moment,
are we obliged to read the book, or can I,
Oh,
like, suppose
yeah,
it's a busy week, I miss or skip one chapter or something? Is that
yeah.
fine?
It's
it's up to
Do I
you.
have to,
totally up to you. I
it's
would
up to
say
me.
totally
Okay,
up to
so I
you.
can just stay here even if I don't have any feedback or anything to share.
Yes, I will say yes. And the thing is that because we're going to talk about the book, I think we're also going to talk about the book towards an eye of like how we can practically implement the systems that are outlined in the book. And Matthew has good systems set up, and I think Matthew is going to be a teacher, an expert, basically, on this topic. I'm saying maybe that's not true, by the way, but I don't know. We'll see. I think if you have not read the book, Matthew will be able to enlighten you. He will give you enlightenment, hopefully, like the Buddha once did, or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so which book is this?
So this is How to Read a Book by Mortimer J. Adler. And, oh no, sorry,
Oh,
excuse me here.
so we're reading a
Mortimer
book on
J.
how to read a
Adler and
book.
Charles von Doorn. The classical guide to intellectual reading, this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're
This-
not about. You don't have to read it anyway for this session. Let us be clear, because
Yes.
coming week we don't dive into the book yet. So
Mm.
Great. So that was all clear.
Currently in the middle of a book, so I may not be able to complete this book. Just giving a heads up.
Yeah. No problem. I generally read like sometimes like 5-6 books at the same time, but like that's me.
yeah,
Simple reading. Yeah.
Yeah, I have quite a busy. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
quite a different schedule. I wouldn't say busy, just different.
I'll give you a
Yeah.
little sneak peek before we really wrap this up. But in
Okay.
like in a month or something, I will actually start a new syntopical project of my own. Because I want to learn more about social cues and reading people. So I got like sent a reading list by a friend of mine. So I might read actually around 16 books at the same time on around the same topic. So
That's insane.
yeah, but it's
Please,
fun.
That's
please
everything, though.
share that us.
You want
Share with us.
Yeah, but
that's
it
too
might
much
take a,
information.
I mean, it
Too
might
much.
take a while before I have it because I first want every single book of them physically. So that's why I say it might start in a month or two before I actually start that project. But I'll definitely note my thoughts and reflections because that might be the project that actually teaches me how to do syntopical reading in a really good way because I haven't practiced it to an adequate degree yet. So
Dark Eliminator, you wanted to say something to Matthew, I think? Or not?
You know what? Let's just wrap this up. I keep
Yes, let's
forgetting what
wrap
I
it up.
want to say.
yeah, it's all right. We'll talk more next week.
Yeah, let's wrap it up, and
Yeah.
we're all dead or so. I
Yeah.
think. I don't
Okay.
know. Yeah, great. So
Bye.
that was great talking to you all. We'll talk with each other next week. We'll probably have an agenda for next week as well, so it's going to be a bit more clear. We already know, of course, but the Discord server, there's going to be more content surrounding the book club as well, so you will see that coming. So I want to thank you all for having made time for this. I want to thank Matthew for being a co-host, or like it's not a co-host, I don't know, co-support.
Yeah, and
And
making you the bookworm supreme.
yeah, so bye bye all.
Yes.
Yeah, have a nice night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.